A carbonaceous chondrite meteorite was recovered in the UK recently. The recovery team in the UK were led by data from Australia's Curtin University. Dr. Luke Daly at the University of Glasgow joins me to chat about this very rare finding.
On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube for over 550 episodes. This is Talkin' Science.
And Dr. Luke is with me now. Luke, thanks for a little bit of your time this morning.
No, thanks very much for having me. It's actually 9 p.m. where I am, so yeah, good evening.
The brilliance of the internet and video calls and time delays. We were chatting with someone last week, and I think it was very late PM for them as well. So from the bottom of the world, it is a welcome to Talkin' Science interviews.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, tell us a little bit about this carbonaceous chondrite meteorite that was discovered. I understand that it's a pretty rare finding.
Yeah, so we had a carbonaceous chondrite fall on the 28th of February this year. It fell around 9:54, and it went basically splat into someone's driveway, made a little dent, and shattered into a million pieces.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a carbonaceous chondrite. It looks like it's a type of carbonaceous chondrite called a CM chondrite. And it's the first time anything like that has fallen on the UK ever. So it's possibly the most significant thing to happen to UK planetary science in history, which is awesome. And yeah, like you said, it was seen by a load of camera networks, including the sort of Desert Fireball Network expansion as part of the Global Fireball Observatory out at Curtin University, which sort of myself and Sarah McMullen at Imperial College London have been organising. So we saw this thing fall along with all the other camera networks that work in the UK. Our friends over in Curtin University told us where it would be, and then we went out looking for it. And yeah, the result is this really precious space rock.
Now, there's a little bit of a connection for you with Curtin University, or another connection, if you will. You studied there, I believe.
Yeah, I did my PhD there between 2013 and 2017 with Professor Phil Bland and Professor Gretchen Benedicts. And that was looking at these self-same meteorites, carbonaceous chondrites, and all the minerals they kind of contain and what they can tell us about the solar system when these rocks formed 4.5 billion years ago. So yeah, very fond memories working with Curtin. I even helped set up some of the Desert Fireball Network cameras.
To have that come to fruition now with such accuracy, within 400 meters of the prediction of the Fireball Network, what's that feeling like to hit the ground running, as it were, and get within the ballpark to find this very important meteorite?
It's been unreal. I mean, like, we've been building the camera network in the UK for 5 years, and it's been about 3 years since we all started working together with all the other camera networks with this express aim to try and break the UK's duck of not having a recovered meteorite fall in 30 years. And there was a lot of doubt. A lot of people were saying, like, well, you can set the cameras up. We know the algorithms work because we've done it in Australia. Done it really well, recovered several meteorites in the outback. But are you really going to find it in a field or in a dark green deciduous forest or like in a boggy peatland of Scotland? Little black rocks, which is what meteorites tend to look like, don't stand out very well against a backdrop of sheep poo. Whereas in Australia, it's much better with the sort of like dark red dirt in the outback. That's got a really nice contrast for the eyes to see meteorites a mile away. Obviously, from experience searching in Australia, we have the problem with kangaroo poo and wombat droppings. They also have a similar affinity to meteorite fusion crust. But yeah, it was really great that we got this one, and not only we got the one that fell in a driveway, which you can kind of say, oh, yeah, that's easy, that's cheating. It slammed onto property, and it was pretty obvious when they looked out of the window in the morning that something was new in their world. We actually managed to get a team on the ground in a sort of COVID-safe way. Because, of course, we're still in lockdown over here. We haven't got the leadership you've had over in Australia, unfortunately. And
it's a really sad state of affairs when Scott Morrison becomes the leader of the free world. but anyway, we won't go into that.
So it was great to get a team out to try and search this sort of really tight area that the Aussies had given us over at Curtin, saying it was about 4 square kilometers we had to search, and it looked like the thing fragmented on its way down. So as you saw that fireball blaze across the sky, it burst several times. So there should have been several more pieces, and unbelievably, really, we found a piece. I was actually part of the search team that found it on the day. It was my girlfriend next to me who found it herself. Like, she was like looking down, saw this unusual thing, and sort of like looked at me quizzically and was like, "Could this be it?" And sort of like very quickly realized, oh my God, it is. Yeah, you can see the fusion crust. It's this gorgeous specimen, and it's about the biggest bit we got, because instead of crash landing into concrete, it crash landed into soggy mud, so it cushioned the fall.
That really helps in terms of discoveries and samples that you can gather out of that. And one thing that I was reading in the press release was that the sample gathered here is very similar to the amount of sample returned, say, by the Hayabusa 2 mission, which landed back in December. And that one really fascinated me, because in covering that story, I learned that there's only a few grams necessarily required to get an understanding of where these meteorites are from and what they contain. So how big was the sample recovered by your team?
So in total, what we've got is around 500 grams or half a kilo of material, which is 100 times more than they got from Hayabusa 2. So the data sets are going to be really nice and complementary. We got this carbonaceous chondrite in the UK within 12 hours of it falling. So no rainfall, no real effect by the weather. It's going to be pristine as you can get for a meteorite. And because the camera network saw it, like the Global Fireball Observatory, we're going to be able to figure out what asteroid it came from. So it's going to be really complementary to that Hayabusa 2 data set. The good news is, like, as you say, absolutely, yeah, you can do a whole wealth of science with a very small amount of material if you put your mind to it. The great thing about having such a chunk now of this new carbonaceous chondrite is we can be a bit more sort of gung-ho with our analysis and do things like Hayabusa 2 would not let you do. To sort of really get into the guts of this rock and sort of start uncovering some of its secrets.
And tell us a little bit about carbonaceous chondrites for people that are unaware. They're obviously very special specimens of the early solar system, but what exactly can they tell us?
Yeah, so carbonaceous chondrites are a specific type of meteorite. They're one of the oldest rocks in our solar system, the oldest rock you'll ever hold. They formed basically within about 1 million to 2 million years after our sun first started to shine. So before they were kind of planets formed, there was just a swirling disk of gas and dust around the young sun. These were the first rocks that formed in our solar system. And carbonaceous chondrites, we think, formed in the outer solar system, kind of beyond Jupiter. And out there, water was in kind of its solid phase in ices. There's also a load of sort of organic molecules, amino acids, sort of fatty acids, simple sugars, graphite. Basically, these rocks contain all the building blocks and ingredients you would need to kick life off. So one of the kind of front-running theories is meteorites and or asteroids like this smashing into the early Earth as the early Earth was forming gave us the nice habitable world we see around us. So they gave us our oceans. They gave that primordial soup out of which life could sort of evolve and develop. So yeah, these are kind of really important samples for understanding both how asteroids develop, how we build planets, but also potentially how we build habitable worlds that life can get going and bring us all this wonderful diversity we see around us.
Well, there's some fascinating research to be had with this sample, half a kilo. That is absolutely awesome. And as you say, pristine in the fact that no Earth elements have really had a chance to sink in there and destroy the precious evidence that is lurking just beneath the surface. So, Luke, it's going to be fascinating to see the research come out on this one. We better let you go and get studying.
Yeah, no, there's plenty to do. We've got a huge consortium, like UK wide, going into this rock. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some really cool results coming out very soon.